Hello, and welcome back to the Mind and Money podcast. I'm Sherry, a financial coach.
And I'm Val, a financial planner. And today we are talking about money boundaries, specifically around lending money. So I'm super curious to see how this goes too. I see this come up for clients with potentially your, maybe doing better, coming into larger lump sums of money and people finding out about it. Not necessarily like the lottery winning, but one was a spousal buyout. The other one, it actually was a settlement from a car accident. And I see this often with the older generation to their children. Sometimes lending, sometimes gifting, sometimes lending and thinking we're lending, but then the kid thinks, no, we're gifting. So boundaries around this. Sherry.
Haven't discussed this intentionally because we wanted to see in real time what the others' thoughts were around this. And for me, if you are considering lending money to a loved one, whether that be a friend or a family member
or spouse.
Oh yeah, I never thought about that.
If you're,
if you don't have your finances combined. One thing that I want you to think about is you can say it's lending until you're blue in the face, and you can do all the right things. You can have a contract drawn up. You can have interest rates associated with it. You can carve out payment details. But I would not recommend lending money unless you can afford for that money to be gone. And thinking it from a place of you're having that conversation with the person and you're talking about it as lending. You're always talking about it with that person as lending, but in your mind, you're thinking
for sure
giving, because you don't want to get burned. And if you're lending money that is for ABC down the road and you never get that money back, that completely derails your ability to buy a home, renovate a home, help a kid through college or university. You are going to be bitter as fuck.
Also, it can ruin families. It has ruined families, relationships, friendships. So I would echo that. Unless it's like, yes, when it's around the topic of lending money, someone comes to you and says, I need help. I need money for X. To Sherry's point, you can do all of the right things. Have it drawn up, have interest rates, have payment schedules. It still needs to be dollars that if they don't pay you back, you're okay internally that it's a gift and it doesn't derail your financial goals entirely, because then more resentment, more regret builds up. I can think of situations where it's gone really well. I can also think of situations where it's gone horribly, horribly wrong, where entitlement levels come into play as well. Well, you're doing fine. So this extra coming to me is helping me and you don't need it. And it largely depends on how much do they know about each other's situation and what is the communication around the arrangement.
Yeah.
Right? Especially when I have clients where maybe mom and dad are giving them money for a down payment. We need to be clear on, is this giving money? Is it expected to be paid back? Right?
Or even if it's not expected to be paid back, is there expectations on that gift that make it feel less gifty?
And running through the scenarios of, okay, if I lend my sister this money and then I see her post on Instagram that she's out for dinner, am I going to have a feeling like, oh, so you couldn't do this, but you can do that? Is that my dollars?
Yep.
Run through the scenarios because they're going to happen. They're going to come up. Can you truly release the funds with no strings attached internally, externally, obviously putting the right parameters in place? And if you can't, how do you say no? What are the boundaries, right? And being okay. And if that ruins a relationship, know that it wasn't ever a relationship for you to begin with.
Well, if saying no ruins the relationship, and if you say no because you're worried that saying yes is going to ruin the relationship, it was a shaky one to begin with. But if somebody you love comes to you and you really genuinely want to help them, but you believe that it is going to put you on a slippery slope and damage the relationship, like what alternatives are there? Can you help them in other ways that aren't financial, that do have a financial benefit to them? And
yes,
coming from the flip side of the situation that you mentioned is if you borrow money from somebody, and even if you're on a schedule to pay them back and you're making the payments and you're paying the interest, if that's what's agreed on, do you feel that you can't go do the things you enjoy? You can't go out for dinner. You can't go to a yoga class. You can't, because they're close enough in your life that they're going to know you're doing those things, and
Yeah.
you're worried that they're going to be judging you for doing those things. So then does that leave you stuck at home like a hermit with all the joy sucked out of your life? Even if they're not actually going, another yoga class, eh, bitch?
Right.
If
Yeah.
you think that, that's going to
defeats all purposes of going there to find more peace, because it's just going to rip it away.
Yeah.
So it's well worth on both sides of that, going through the scenarios and going, am I going to be okay with this?
Yeah. And having those frank conversations. If you're considering lending somebody money, or you're considering going to ask somebody to lend you money, and you're not comfortable having those frank conversations about how either of you could perceive different things or how you could feel when you see different situations, like, you should probably not be going to ask that person for money or considering borrowing from them, because you've got to have a pretty tight relationship where you openly communicate and there's a high level of comfort
and trust.
Yeah. And I think maybe we do a separate episode on gifting, but that's one of the challenges that many of the clients that I've worked with have, is that they are generous. And I think that comes from a lot of people that have ADHD or ADHD, and they're really connected and perceptive to how other people are feeling, and knowing that that person is in a challenging situation, and knowing that you can give them a little bit of money, but sometimes that ends up being more money. And in situations with some past clients, it's been more money than that person can afford to gift.
That is,
but it's still like, if I gift them this amount, yes, it leaves me in a challenging financial spot, but I'm still in a better position than they are.
Right. But that is also the conversation I've had to have with some clients where they're like, okay, we want to give our children this. And I'm like, I love that. How does it impact you? Let's look at the numbers. So having the conversations before there's an exchange of funds.
Frank, raw conversations.
Yes.
Just like on an airplane, you need to put your own oxygen mask on first before you put the oxygen mask on your children or people that aren't physically able to themselves. And I'm sure you've had a lot of frank conversations with people as well, who you see their finances, you see their retirement. They're like, we're here to contribute to our kids' RESPs. And you're like,
right.
It's great that you want to help your kids with their education, but your retirement prognosis is not good.
Yes.
And it's challenging, especially when they're your kids. You want to take care of them.
Absolutely. But it's striking a balance, and it's also allowing them to stretch their wings. And
you can't get a loan for retirement.
Yes.
You can get loans for school. And I know you don't want your kids to have loans for school, but
a lot of people do, and they turn out just fine.
Yeah.
They're okay. So when it comes to those boundaries, even if you're like, especially if you're in that high of like, I'm doing good, I can spread the wealth, pause. If someone comes to you, ask all of the questions, and then take it with you and think about it.
Pause. And there's a reason that many people who win lotteries are broke in a very quick time frame after winning the lottery, because they're being generous and they see this large amount of money and they want to help other people, but friends come out of the woodwork. Also, not related at all. If you won the lottery, would people know? Would you tell people? Would it be common knowledge?
No. But then I wonder sometimes when I see the posts on Facebook with the pictures, I'm like, do you have to get your picture?
I've seen people go with like ski masks.
Oh yeah, I do that. I do that for sure.
They have to blur your name out on the. I can't see that they make you.
That wouldn't make
do
sense.
That.
No.
And also, okay, so you win the lottery, and I'm not going to win the lottery because I don't buy tickets. But you win the lottery. You don't tell people. What would the signs be?
The cat sanctuary would be flush. A family vacation. I would just be so excited about my investments. Animal sanctuaries would be flush.
I wish more people with a lot of money would give back. There shouldn't be billionaires.
I think that would be what you would see. I'd just be setting other things up.
If I had a lot of money, I would want to figure out how the fuck I build a shitload of tiny homes. Like get a property where the zoning allows for it, and just like so many
build it and they will come.
Yeah. People need housing, and the financial barriers to housing are.
You really want to do that?
It's what I saw. I can't remember where, but I saw somebody was doing it somewhere in Canada. I'm just like, or I've seen also trailers that are converted. So there's like those little sleeping units. Like, yeah.
Oh, cool.
One of the values that I share, connected to an earlier episode, is that I believe we should feed and house our people, regardless of how much they are contributing to society or not.
An episode on that, because I think that would be fun.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah. Anyways, we got off on a tangent, but if you're considering lending money, prepare to not get it back and think about how that will impact.
Please take the time to consider it.
And think about alternative ways that you can help them. What is their immediate need? And maybe their immediate need is they need help with daycare. Maybe and you can help because you've got a flexible schedule. Maybe, think about what their immediate need is. How can you help them in either different financial ways or non-financial ways? Because money and family can really fracture relationships quickly. So think about it long and hard. And if somebody puts too much pressure on you and you want to give it time to decide, and
there's your answer.
Yeah, all the red flags. We hope that you've never been in a situation where money has caused tension and fractured relationships.
But if you have, share that with us.
And consider it long and hard, because
and don't have shame about it either. I think a lot of people do when it does go sideways, but you were a good person doing the right thing at that time.
And a lot of it is perception too. Maybe somebody perceives that you're in a much better financial position than you are, and they think you can lend them 10 grand without batting an eyelash, but they don't know.
No. And they don't need to know.
They don't need to know. They don't need to know.
We're like, let's talk about money, but don't talk about your money.
So few people are actually having real money conversations. So good luck if you're exploring this option. And we hope that it does not set your relationship on fire with a friend or family member. So we hope that this has been enlightening for you, and that we will see you next time on the Mind and Money Podcast.